So here we are, day 4 for us, day 3 for everybody else. And we have Uwe Eichert. He is, he's pretty.
Are we online?
I'm sorry. He's a very pretty man.
Oh, yes.
And
I was pretty.
And actually, Uwe and I run into each other quite a lot because even though he's German, he actually he lives in the U.S., yes?
Yes.
Where do you live?
In Fremont, Ohio.
Fremont, Ohio. And so it's always weird. He likes to speak German to me whenever he wants me to not understand what it is he's saying. And anyway, he is the author of Conflict of Heroes. And and I guess technically you are the man in charge of Academy Games?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to talk for a little bit about your, originally Conflict of Heroes. We now have the expansion, the Poland 1939 expansion. That's the original base game you need to buy to be able to play this game. That's been out for a little while. This one just came out right
this week.
now. Cool.
Be available in stores in about 3 weeks.
And so, to sum up Conflict of Heroes, you would say it's a lighter war game?
No, it's a situational analysis game. It was meant for officer training in platoon company level. Work with Marine Corps personnel. It's being used by universities now for teaching and by military personnel around the world, and of course in the gaming community. I started Academy Games to publish a game on a lark. Guy told me, hey, you can print your own game. I thought, what a great time. Came out with Awakening the Bear, and we tried to take games such as Advanced Squad Leader and Squad Leader, where I'm a fanatic of these games, and make them accessible to the general public. And I also wanted to have the game over quickly with no downtime. So that's how Academy Games started. We are looking to expand into many different theaters. We have quite a few authors who have sent us very good designs, and we are continuing with those games in their series. Conflict of Heroes is a squad-level series of games that covers anywhere from World War II, and we have plans through the Indochina, Vietnam, Arab-Israeli wars, all the way through current-day Afghanistan.
Now, by that, do you mean to take the same basic system that you have and adapt it to the various combat situations, or are you trying to come up with slightly different versions of, or completely different games for each of these scenarios or eras?
Why, yes, Dirk. We are...
Okay, in case you haven't realized it, Uwe, a bit of a ham bone. But anyway, why yes, Uwe? What do you say about that?
Well,
yes,
it's going to be the same series, same rules, and for those of you who don't give me any crap online later on, we did have some rule changes between the first game and the second. Had some growing pains, but the rules have now settled down.
Wait a minute, you're trying to tell me that there's people in cyberspace that somehow didn't like everything that you do?
The bat.
Yes, beep. You can just say it in German and everything's fine. Okay.
No, we had a change in the rules, and I'll go through them. Between Awakening the Bear and Storms of Steel was one of those wake up on a Sunday morning and go, holy cow, why were we doing it that way? On top of that, we try to be very proactive with our BoardGameGeek customers and fans out there who send us incredible ideas. And if they're good, we try to incorporate them. So it's an evolving system, but it's pretty stable. I'll go through the games, but Guadalcanal, that's coming out, and also Normandy, the D-Day invasions for Airborne. There are no rules changes for both those games coming out in the near future.
Cool. So just a bit about the original games. It's a 2-player game.
Yes, it's between 2 players. You can play it solo. It's for 2 to 4 players.
Okay.
So you can play it up to 4. Then we also have, for example, Storms of Steel. We have tons of firefights online, and they are for up to 8 players. So we have tournament play where we can get up to 8 players playing off one game.
And so in a box there, you're going to get how many maps?
I'm going to do one of those vassal type deals, you know, throw things out.
Please don't. We have a hard enough time keeping our booth clean the way it is.
Tons of counters. As you can see, to save money, we don't print all the counters. We leave some empty just because we save a few pennies that way. And Storm to Steel comes with, I'm kidding, those are the counters I punched out for here.
Man, Uva's a kidder.
Four full sheets. These are nicely punched, inch square.
And they're meaty.
They're meaty. They're meaty.
Yeah.
And then we have, in Storms of Steel, the rules are programmatic teaching. We believe in programmatic teaching. I love the old squad leader rules where you only had to read like 3 pages and then you start playing, read another page or 2, continue. So that's what we did, full color. You read 4 pages, start playing, read another 2 pages, continue playing. Everything's color coded. In red are examples, blue are designer notes, and it's 11 pages of rules. So you're playing 6 games before you have to read all 11 pages. The firefights, big historical section, we try to do a lot of teaching, and we're getting more and more into that. Dirk, can you take care of that announcer for me?
I really can't do anything about her. At least you understand what she's saying. To me, it's just blah, 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 blah. And she's not turning off the lights, which is all we really care about.
She's saying something about free beer, so. Each scenario has a setup, full picture, historical background, and setup. Dirk's off for the beer. Then we go, okay, now that he's gone, I can do what I want to really talk about. In this game also, we have 4 big mounted boards, and these are pretty solid.
Yeah, totally.
And they're pretty big also, and they're isometric or geomorphic, so you can put boards to boards, 4 of them, and then we also have, which we decided to, instead of doing 5 boards, we have overlays. And these overlays are hills, rivers, swamps, more villages, to give us a lot more variability.
Cool.
So
your box is empty, now you're done. Okay, so.
What we did then is, in the new game, we changed the box size a little. Can I show that? Just get over that? No, okay. The new box, we made a little narrower, brought the picture out more, and thicker. By doing that, now in stores, they don't fall over as easy. More surface area for people to see. And we added into these games
More crap,
but also a nice insert tray.
So does it actually work, or is it just going to take up space and I throw it away?
You know what? These actually work. These were built in America and German designed. German engineering.
All right.
And it is made out of solid ebony wood. So this is, no, it's plastic. It sounds better, solid ebony wood, but I can't lie on stage, can I?
You can do anything you want. You'll just have to live with the consequences.
But they do fit, and it's made so that the boards fit on top of them, and it locks everything in.
Nice.
And it's made so that you can take your old games, put all the units, counters in together, sort them out, and place them.
Cool.
But I'll get into this. I want to just go through, for those of you who've never played, and just teach you the rules. And I'm going to be on the timer. I'm going to teach this game to Dirk, who's never, we've never met before, sir. I've met you on the road. He's never played this game before.
Okay.
So, is that right?
For the purpose of the conversation, yes. I've never played this game before.
So, in this game, it's played in rounds. I better set it up. And the game is played usually from 1 to 5 rounds. Now I have to set it up. Sorry about the dead air time. Where are the counters here? And this does not count as my 3 minutes.
Yes, it does, actually.
Damn it.
It totally does. And what's with the cursing?
I can't curse.
What is with the cursing?
I'm in Germany. Every 3rd word is like Scheiße oder verdammt nochmal. And it wears on you, you know? It's like verdammte Bratwurst.
Okay. And then I have one over here.
You have one over here.
No. Yeah, okay.
We'll do it right. All right. In a game is played in rounds. Usually a game is 5 rounds long. During a round, we take turns. In a turn, a player can either pass or take an action. An action means moving a hex, firing, digging in, rallying, etc. The most common way to take an action is to say, I'm going to activate this unit, and I will give this unit 7 action points. A firefight will also specify how many command points you get. Command points are you as an officer, how you can influence the battle. The green points will be given to each unit as it's activated. So throughout a firefight, it's possible for every unit to get 7 action points and use them. Once a unit has used 7 action points, it is turned to its spent side to say, he has already gotten 7 points, he doesn't get them again in this game, in this round. So for example, if it's a German's turn, he says, I want to activate this unit, gives him 7 action points, and takes an action. For example, he says, I'm going to move up on this road for 1 action point. So he marks from 7 with a green down to 6. The cost to do everything is always on top of the counter. The top right is a cost to move, usually it's 1 action point, and the top left, the cost to fire. So in this case, he moved up 1 hex, went down to 6, that was his turn. Now it's my turn. I go, oh look, some foolish krauts coming up the road. I will shoot at him. The Russian I will activate, give him 7. It costs him 4 to fire. So I go 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And I can shoot. Combat is all on the counters. This game, you're just playing fast. Don't look anything up. It's all right here. To fire, each counter has on the bottom a red and a blue number on the bottom left. The red fire against units with red defense values, which are on the bottom right of the counter.
Or infantry mostly.
Or infantry, soft targets. And the blue fires against gepanzerte, armored units. You take your firepower plus the sum of 2 dice, and it has to be equal to or greater than the defense.
Cool. So in my case, I got a 5.
You have a 12 defense.
A 12 defense.
I'm firing at you with a 4.
Right.
4 versus a 12, I need an 8 to hit. So I'm going to roll, and I got a 9, which is greater than an 8, and I hit. So now Dirk goes into the random hit pile.
Now I got to tell you, this, all the other crap, I mean, I'm a big fan of Combat Commander, but you have armor.
Yes, I have armor.
That helps. But I really like this. This to me is the cool shit, because I mean, you never quite know. I could be really dead, or I could be okay.
Exactly.
So in this case, I was pinned.
And what it does is the hit counters give different results. You could be killed instantly, or nothing could happen. In this case, whatever is on the same spot on the hit counter as is on the unit gets influenced. So where the movement point is, it says no longer available, he's pinned. Now this hit counter, he looks at it and places it under the unit secretly. So I know I hit him, but I don't know what happened to him. Now it's a German's turn again. Now normally I would say, he would probably say, let's move into cover, but he's pinned. So he can do one of 2 things. He could fire back, or he could try to rally. Now this is where you have to make a decision. A hit unit that gets hit again is eliminated. So you usually try to get rid of your hit units by doing a rally, so you take a morale check. Morale always costs 5 action points. So he would pay 5, and on the hit counter it says what you need to rally. This says 7 or greater. So he rolls, see if he gets 7 or greater. He got an 11.
I didn't even have to cheat.
He didn't have to cheat. Who cheats? I never cheat either. The hit counter is removed, and the unit is good again. but he's already used up 6 of his 7 action points. Now it comes back to the Russian. Dang, Dirk, the Germans are just sitting there.
I just shrugged it right off.
Ivan, look at these dumb Germans.
Yes.
Let's fire again. Now remember, my firepower is a 4.
You wish you could.
I only have, this starts at 6.
Right.
I only have 3 action points left. It costs me 4 to fire. This is where the blue track comes in. This is the command section. You can augment an individual's action points with the command track. So I can go 1, 2, 3, and then use one of my 6 blue ones to make it 4 and fire again. And so the game goes. The nice thing is, when this unit is done now, he is flipped, and you can activate the next unit and give it 7. What a lot of people then say is a spent unit can still move, they can fire and do any action by paying for them with your command points, or we also have something called action points. This is another way to take an action. With an action card, you can, for example, a third of them are command actions, meaning you can play it and you can take any action and it costs nothing. So
like, for instance, firing.
Exactly.
Yep.
And what we do is you only get 2 cards at the beginning of a game and 1 card each round thereafter. So it's not a card-driven game, but what this is your poker hand. If you did not keep reserves, you no longer,
war, baby.
Right, and you no longer have command points, this is an incentive for someone not to rush you.
Yeah.
That is the entire game.
Yep.
Tanks work exactly like infantry. Airplanes work the same way. We have Guadalcanal is coming out soon.
Actually, I don't remember airplanes. I have actually played this game before. It's quite good. Airplanes aim at armor mostly then, or what?
Airplanes can fire at both armor and infantry.
Yeah, yeah.
So, for example, an airplane has a very, very high.
Oh, I see. High
has a very high armor component. And it's not that the guns were that powerful. These values, the statistics on these, we did 2 years of mathematical statistics before we put it out because we wanted the statistical results to be similar to historical values. So an airplane has a very high anti-tank firepower, which is out of relationship to the number of tank values. And this is because they shot from the air at a high angle and hit tanks from their tops, where the armor was very thin, and they hit the engine compartments.
Sure.
So these tanks, for the Germans, for example, a Stuka and a Henschel, they could come in and they'd dive bomb, and they'd hit that very thin layer above the engine compartments of a T-34 and just
kaboom.
Kaboom.
Yeah, and they were gas powered as opposed to diesel, which made them go boom even faster. And the cool thing is like you simulate the fact that an airplane isn't all that terribly good at infantry because they just kind of scatter, because its firepower against infantry is half that.
Exactly.
And you essentially see that same kind of thing all across. There is one thing I think you did forget.
What's that?
And correct me if I'm wrong, but they have facing as well.
Yes, and this is one of the games that every unit has a green facing, which makes flanking tactics very, very important.
Yep.
A unit can only fire the hex it's facing and an arc. The front 3 hexes, the arc created by the front 3 hexes. So if a unit is coming in from the flank, this unit will have to take a turn to pivot and pay for it, and then the flanking unit still gets to fire first.
Right.
So in the game we have the new Price of Honor, we have cavalry, we have in Guadalcanal, we have landing craft, PT boats, we're adding dinghies, other type of floating, what do you call those, watercraft. We have the airplanes, of course, packs, guns, artillery,
pretty much everything. Pretty much everything.
Self-propelled guns.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, and the cool thing is that you kind of have, I mean, the cool thing for me is that and I'm going to say a lighter war game, because frankly, yes, I consider it a lighter war game. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but it actually simulates a good time, and there's a lovely story arc because of the damage counters being the way they are. I mean, I remember the last time I played, I was the Russians, and the Russians are fairly underpowered against because this would have been conflict, the original,
the Awakening of the Bear.
Awakening of the Bear, and a lot of the scenarios have the Russians essentially just kind of they're cloaked. And they're hiding, and then you wait for the Germans to get as close as you can, and then you pop out and you go, oh God, I hope he hits, and he does, and sometimes he doesn't. So, and in one case, I had my last hope and prayer was a tank that was up there that was behind it. It was going to be able to rip into the infantry and just really do a lot of damage. And first they get popped by and my main gun goes away.
Oh my goodness.
And so like I have absolutely no anti-vehicle capability whatsoever. Meanwhile, in my backfield, I've got this one truck, not a good thing, just a shitty truck with like a guy with a 45 in it or something like that in the back. You know, basically mopping up what little support infantry I had in the back that weren't cloaked, and I got schlocked. But I mean, it was a great game.
Yeah.
But so it doesn't really matter. And the whole point is, you know, I mean, that was 2.5 years ago I played that game.
Super.
And I still remember it. And so to me, that's the value of a lighter system like this, where your setup time is minimal, your excitement level is very high, and frankly, you're never out of it. Because the shit can turn over, you can be totally ahead, and all of a sudden you lose your main gun on the guy that's kicking butt, and you're done.
Yeah.
So.
And we tried to design most scenarios between an hour to 2 hours, because I want to play a game in an evening, and if like this scenario here, we play this in half an hour. If we want to play it again, you can play it again, and then go out and have a beer. So
right on.
It's a fun little thing.
So original Awakening of the Bear is still available?
Awakening of the Bear is now out of stock, out of the warehouses. I just checked with the Alliance distributors, and some of them, they still have like 100 left. And so it's going quickly. In German, it's all gone. French is all gone. So it's an unfortunate thing. Some of the stores still have them. Storm of Steel we still have. We just came out with Price of Honor.
And MSRP is?
The first two, the base games are $80. The games have roughly around 200 fighting units in them each. The first game has 5 boards, the second one 4. Price of Honor, MSRP of $50. You can find them at most of it goes through all distribution worldwide. So hopefully you give us some support there. And I'd like to just say some of the games coming out. How much time do we have there?
Still, we've got a little bit of time.
Okay, a little bit of time.
A little.
It's like the Gong Show here.
Yep.
Bong.
Oh, if it was a Gong Show, you'd be long gone, brother.
Thanks a lot.
Well, I call them like I sees them.
I'll go back to one of the booths and get free beer.
Yeah, well, you're not going to get it here. All right.
We are coming out very shortly with Guadalcanal. Then next year, of course, First Minute, D-Day Invasion.
And these are all just expansions
in
on
this series.
Okay.
Not expansions, standalone games.
Standalones?
Yes. We are starting a Africa trilogy. The first game is Under Burning Skies. It will be 1940, going into 41, but mainly 39-40, with on Eastern Africa, Mogadishu, Somaliland, with the Ethiopian, where we have the Italian, some of the crack Italian troops going against the British, mountain fortress fighting, Native Africans, Indians, New Zealand, doing some very, very tough actions. The second in the trilogy is going to be around the Tobruk area with Gazala 41, where the Germans were really doing the deep advance into British territory towards Egypt. Then the third in the trilogy is going to be 1942-43, American involvement. And we broke them up because each phase has a different...
Very different parts of the war.
Different parts of the war, different equipment, and we had to break it up that way. We then also are working on a Vietnam trilogy, starting with French Indochina, 1947 to 53, first era, then going 63 for the second game with American involvement coming in, and the third one with the Tet Offensive. Again, 3 very different phases, very different games, different fields. John Hill and I are working on Gettysburg,
Ooh, that's a good one.
Many of you have seen the maps.
Civil
we've taken
War,
to-
nice.
We've brought the maps to. How many minutes?
You're done.
I've got
Wrap
one.
it up. Anytime now, buddy. Come on.
Well, I'd like to sing a song. I didn't get taken into American Idol, so if we could, Dirk and I have worked on the song for many years now, and we like.
You gonna tell me? You gonna tell me the song before we start?
Musi
All right.
Musi den, zum Stille hinaus.
See, I told you he does this.
No, but
All
we
right.
have Gettysburg coming out, which is a regimental size brigade order. John Hill and I are working on it. It's huge boards, 3D. The graphics are just gorgeous. A lot of excitement. We've been bringing them to the shows. It is a merging of Johnny Reb and Conflict of Heroes. It will be, the counters are nice 1.1 by 7/8 inches. So no stats on the counters. It's all on your brigade card, kept secret. So you know you hit these brigades, but you don't know how quick they're down to breaking. You will be able to play the game 100% with miniatures or as a board game.
Yeah, cool.
And lastly, we have Strike of the Eagle. I'm not a wooden block guy. I play tested this last year. Incredible game system.
So you're actually gonna put out a block game?
Yes, it's going to be
Wow.
out first quarter of 2010.
Cool.
One of these where it's blind, you're giving orders, faking your opponents out with, you could be putting fake orders trying to draw him into defense instead of doing attack.
Yeah.
When you're not really even attacking there and you slam him in another area.
Huh.
Fast, quick playing.
That's always
Fun
good.
games.
Cool. Ova,
Thank you very
it's
much.
a pleasure as always, and thanks for the
Appreciate it.
games. I mean, I love them. So like I said, you guys can buy them. I highly recommend them. And I guess I didn't realize you had quite so much in the pipeline, but good on you.
Quite a bit.
Cool.
And thank you very much. Any of you have questions, give us a call. And I am in the 900 hall, open for beer buying. Or beer consumption.
Yeah, exactly.
you.
All right.